Let's do a stop practice. Stop whatever you are doing right now. Take a few breaths. Observe your experience in this moment. Then proceed mindfully into your next moment.
Welcome to LAGLAGAN Nights!
So, cheers to that!
Right, okay. LAGLAGAN Nights is a special episode where we celebrate different kinds of failures. And for this episode, we'll be particularly celebrating
Relationship failures.
Right, so we've invited two of our guests who can talk about their relationship, how did they grow. So, yun, pag-uusapan natin yan mamaya with Bam and Za. So,
Yes. So, stay tuned!
see you! Bye! To get updated in our latest episodes, you may follow The Sacred Space by Conscious Heart Creations in Spotify, Google Podcast, and other podcast channels.
Follow Conscious Heart Creations in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We also invite you to be part of our Healing and Empowerment Community Facebook group and send us an email if you want to join our Emergent Theater PH activities.
You can find all the links to our social media accounts and email address on the description box. Right, so welcome to LAGLAGAN Nights!
Welcome back! So, after the break, we have our guests, Bam and Za. So,
Yes.
Bam and Za, can you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Za, and this is my husband, Bam. We've been together for almost 18 years and married for almost 11 years. So we met in college at the College of St. Benilde, where we transferred from UP Diliman, where we did not cross paths.
Right. Alam nyo, Bam and Zach, the topic for today is really celebrating relationship failures. No? Especially now that it's love month. Paano nga ba nagtatagal siguro sa relationship? And kung ano yung mga lessons nyo? And then yun, later on siguro, to share some advice. No?
Yeah.
It's really just your stories together.
But before that, maybe you can also share how we actually met, no? Alam naman natin dito sa Sacred Space, usually yung mga first guests natin had a connection with, what we're doing,
Right.
with Conscious Heart Creations, and yung idea ng Sacred Space. So you can also share that.
With Nex, we go back a pretty long way. We actually first met Nex through a Facebook group called Minimalist Philippines because Bam and I have been a work in progress when it comes to achieving minimalism in our lives. Nex was part of that group also, and she added a dimension to minimalism, which is mindfulness, and she was able to teach us the connection between mindfulness and minimalism. Afterwards, we also became part of what something called Emergent Theater. This is something that is very close to Nex's heart, one of her passion projects, which is providing a safe, sacred space for everyone to just be, and for performance to become more of just a performance that is for an audience, but it is also something that you do for yourself and something that you can treat as a sacred practice.
So, I guess starting from this episode, we wanted to know, nagkaroon ba kayo ng challenges? Being married for almost 18 years, being together for almost 18 years, is not something na parang light lang. For sure, ang daming challenges. So if you could just siguro share what you can share and you want to, impart to our listeners and viewers.
Ako may background kasi ako ng konti. Nakwentuhan nila ako dun sa kanilang life story and love story. So actually, I wanted to kind of ask, ano yung mga experiences ninyo in terms of what we call failures, no? Relationship failures?
Siguro I'll start. Between the two of us kasi, Bam has more relationship experience. So actually, this is what I always like to say. He spared me from a lot of heartache and difficulties in relationships. So he really guided me through that, and I'm very grateful to have had that benefit from him. So I guess I'll turn it over to him to speak about his experiences, given that he has the greater depth of them.
Strange, no? Kasi topic is about yung relationship failures. And akala ko it was about failures in general, hindi yun sa aming dalawa. Kasi if I were to just speak about yung mga trials and tribulations namin, I'd like to say na we've been blessed much more than a lot of couples that we see, no? Na when Za and I met, medyo smooth sailing na rin eh. Parang the things that came before we met became a sort of preparation for the people that we needed to be in order to have a relationship that succeeds and lasts. So, in the realm of failures, siguro, it was more of the person that I was, before I met Za. Siguro, sa amin dalawa, it's just yung usual, education, yan, sa finance, the kinds of things that normal couples go through na nakukuha naman sa respect, sa trust, sa open communication.
But in the duration of your relationship, kasi you mentioned na it's very smooth sailing, and that's true, no? Not everybody is blessed with that kind of relationship when they enter. It's an agreement kasi of both persons. Was there a turning point wherein parang na-realize you have to step up, you have to, I don't know if you had to change for that person or between the two of you?
In our relationship, I can say that we never had something that we would consider a deal breaker. Like we never got to a point na let's end this, let's break up. Because before we ever got to that point, we really reminded ourselves and each other that we need to communicate and we need to respect each other and we need to be aware of each other's needs and wants.
Mm-hmm. Sa akin naman, the relationship failures that came before, I met Za, were already learning experiences din and what parang not to do or what also yung mga dapat gawin, setting yung values, yung standards, ganyan, learning that. Yung sometimes it's about being other-centered, meaning yung partner. Sometimes it's also taking care of the self because the self is part of the unit. Diba? Na sometimes when I choose self-care, that means that I'm also taking care of the relationship. And sometimes I have to put her above my needs because that's what the relationship requires or asks for. Na beyond just her or just me, there's an entity na yung kami. And prioritizing that is the key element of a successful relationship. Mm-hmm. I've been in relationships before na medyo toxic, where I either gave too much or did not give enough. So yun yung mga experiences na when Za and I got together na, yung mga pitfalls that came along the way, hindi na namin kailangan maranasan with each other.
Right. I'm actually curious about that, Bam. Yung parang you were saying, kasi yung parang what you learned from those failures, if it's possible, if you remember, ano yung mga, would you say, what failed, and then what did you learn from that failure? Kung ano man yung mga yon in the past, no? Just focusing on those.
Well, siguro, it comes with youth din eh. Kasi diba, pagka medyo mas bata-bata pa, not a lot of experience, tapos rose-tinted pa yung mga expectations about relationships. Ganyan. It comes din with I used to have a hero complex. Well, maybe hanggang ngayon. Pero I'd like to think I manage it better now. Kasi parang wanted to be this idealized type of gentleman, ganyan, very centered dun sa, to the point na, even at times na I don't feel authentic anymore. I don't feel like it was me. I was adjusting myself too much to make the relationship work or to make her happy. Not that, I mean,
Disclaimer.
Ayun. So, it was a very serious relationship that lasted for 6 years. No? Pero, somewhere along the way, I guess we grew into different people. And we both weren't ready or willing to acknowledge that. Kasi it was a transition then from adolescents to adults. Very volatile phase then. So we just ended up going apart. And when that didn't work out, I guess nag-overcompensate naman ako. Nasabi ko na sa sarili ko na I have to find who I am. Yan, so in the journey to find myself, it's ironic na nakalimutan ko alagaan yung sarili ko. So parang it's what most people would say, I let myself go. Yan, parang 2 taon na pa akong hindi nag-groom ng sarili ko, hindi ako nagpapagupit or nagsusuklay man lang or nag-aahit. Naliligo naman ako, pero I went
Fresh din.
So I went from this concept of what a gentleman is like, na clean cut, laging forma, na pumapasok ako sa school, naka-chinelas, naka-shorts, tapos, and that was just external, pati internally, lahat ng mga the things that I bottled up inside na things that I'm not proud of shows it. Suddenly came to the forefront, so nandiyan yung mga issue, nandiyan yung mga unhealthy lifestyles. I guess it's part of the journey of self-discovery that I'm thankful lasted lang a few years, no? Those were really things that I would consider in hindsight what a lot of people would consider failure. Parang, oh my gosh, naging ganyan nga dati. Pero for me, I'm not proud of it, but I don't deny it either kasi it was part of the journey into being the person that I am right now. No? So, yung learning done is it's not parang being authentic, being true to oneself doesn't mean saying yes to a false sense of identity na, basta gusto ko gagawin ko kasi trip ko. It's more of one needs to be because it's yung maalala what do you stand for, what do you want to do with your life, or what do you want to be remembered for. It's not parang nagdodwell dun sa in that dark place, no, but also remembering where as a person I wanted to take my life to become, and actually making the effort na yung magpapakatino, magpapakabait na hindi dahil you just wanna impress somebody or you wanna change yourself to be accepted, pero because that's exactly what I stand for, what I want to give to the world.
Right.
So that journey is very long but also very permanent.
Right. So parang what I'm hearing you say is that failure in relationships led you to kind of, I don't know kung tama ba na, were you just failing sa relationships or was there something else that eventually led you to kind of find yourself, no? Parang yun yung sinasabi mo. And then that finding of yourself was not so much to have another relationship. Tama ba yung pagkaintindi ko doon? It's not to find another person, but just to find yourself first. Parang that's what you decided to work on.
In a way kasi it's also a type of relationship. It's a relationship with self.
Right.
Diba? And it starts from there na you cannot give from an empty bucket. So, building of self, a relationship. Yun nga parang when I let myself go, it felt like I didn't have a relationship with myself anymore. Kasi kung ano-anong mga, gusto ko muna, sige, yan, gusto ko mag-chibog, sige, chibog, ganyan. things like that, no. Nakalimutan ko na taking care of self is not automatic. It's a very deliberate, very conscious, very mindful type of decision to carry your life forward. So, pwede rin mag-segue ng matters of faith, no? Daanan ko lang sandali. It's also during this period na I did so much give mind to it, and it's something that's medyo, kasi I was raised in a very religious family. And I was raised in a Catholic school. Pero those are things that I were taught na hindi galing sa akin. So in that journey that I had to go through, yung relationship ko din with my faith and with myself, kasi spirituality is part of that. Coming to terms with it na sa akin mismo nang galing, it was also part of that na in forming relationships with others. Hindi pwedeng wala yun. Doon ko na-discover na, bahagi ko pala to, and it's not something na pwede kong baliwalain. Hindi rin siya pwedeng parang naka-compartmentalize lang. No?
Right.
So, learning to integrate all of that, learning to make it a part of one's whole being, I guess, helped make me ready to be in a relationship with whether it's an individual like Siza or a family, or even others in general. Kasi I used to be very, very introverted and very, in a way, antisocial then. I would stay in my room kahit weeks, months. In fact, ngayon ng lockdown, I'm one of the rare people siguro na medyo happy. Yay, everyone stays home. Trabaho. Yeah, diba? Everyone, kating-kating lumabas ako, what's wrong with this? Yun, pero I see the importance of that and respecting yung interrelatedness natin as people, as beings, even as customers.
Right. Yeah, I actually like the thing that you said, that when you take care of yourself, you are essentially taking care of your relationship to that person you committed to, diba? Kasi a lot of young couples now, this is in relation to a lot of weddings that happened during the pandemic who are essentially very young people. Mga 20s ata, very early, siguro late 20s, mga ganyan. Mga mid-20s to early 30s, ganyan. Yun yung mga young couple na nagpakasal, which I noticed on social media, no? And for sure, marami akong friends din naman na nakakapag-share sa akin na sometimes the relationship are built on codependency. So parang if my partner doesn't want that, I also don't want that. And I just wanted to get your thoughts, being in your relationship successfully.
Codependency, medyo, that's a really serious word, no? Carries a lot of weight, carries a lot of connotations then, both positive and negative. Codependency ba or interdependence lang? Yan, kasi pag codependency, borders on toxic na eh. And yeah, I've also been in a relationship that failed na medyo ganun element na we realized that it wasn't working out. Pero it was so hard to let go then na because we just gotten so used to each other despite the fact na we were being harmful na to each other, being toxic. Yeah. Yung trend ngayon of young people, tying the knot, ganyan. Actually, the first image that came to mind was yung mga wars, di ba, na, idodokay na ako, tara pakasal na tayo, ganyan, para
Madali.
Yun, di ba?
There might be an element of that.
Yeah.
Because this is a disaster, this is an emergency.
I think right now, it's a very exceptional din kasi mortality is at the forefront of our minds eh. We're at this period of transition na hindi na may forever ang hinahanap ng mga tao eh. May ngayon na siguro hinahanap na, oh my gosh, today is we don't know tomorrow, diba? Somebody gets gets struck with with the C word.
Yeah.
We've also had people, pass away because of that. So during this, mga couples din.
Sorry, I'm actually curious naman kay Za. What was your preparation? Kasi si Bam had all of this, journey to the self prior to meeting each other, no? Ikaw, did you feel you had a certain preparation rin prior to meeting him? Just a curiosity from my end.
We met in our early 20s. So at the time, we were already medyo fully formed adults. Medyo malayo na in the journey to finding myself and knowing myself. And like Bam, I'm also very introverted. And I'm a pretty self-contained person. And I'm happy just with my own company. I never really had a strong feeling that I needed to be in a relationship, in a romantic relationship with someone. I always remember this interview with Kate Hudson that struck me. I read this years ago. She said that when you are truly happy and comfortable being yourself, that's when love finds you. And I really believe that. We were talking about codependency, we were talking about self-care, and I think the journey that Bam described is a form of authentic self-care, because self-care is not just being easy on yourself or doing things that will make you happy, but it's also about doing what needs to be done to grow as a person. So I think I've done a lot of that already by myself. So I was pretty strong and solid and steady already when I met him. So I think that really helped.
Yeah, that's really great, no? So it's fun to listen to parang two individuals talaga coming together. And I think it's at this point of our conversation that I'd like to know what would be an advice you'd give to people. And of course, I also am privy to what you do. So you can also share about, how that helps nurture your relationship then, no? And later on you can even promote that, what you do, so that you can help other couples.
Yeah, an advice siguro that you can give who's currently experiencing what they can label as relationship failures, or it failed, but they want to get on track again. So, yun.
Or someone wanting to get in a new relationship, or
Right.
something, for anyone and everyone.
Someone get to a relationship, echoing din yung experience niya. At that point that I met her, then I wasn't exactly looking for a relationship na eh. In a way, parang give up na ako eh. Some of my friends na would say na, ikaw, I doubt it kasi you're always parang, kumbaga sa wrestling, pang tag team ka kasi you're always someone who is gonna end up with somebody, pero sabi ko at that point na, I doubt it kasi I've tried na so hard, and I also tried to not try. Yeah, it's true, no? Yung sabi dun sa mga songs na it's you, you're not looking for it. I guess yung advice nung sabi ko is simply to just let it happen, not to look for it or not try to manufacture it, I guess. Instead, the authentic manifests itself.
I agree with that. If you're trying too hard, maybe it's not meant to be. It doesn't mean that you don't have to work on your relationship, because relationships do take work, and love is not a noun for us, it's an action word, it's a verb. So to love someone is to really put in the work to be with that person and to be the best person you can be for your partner, and for the two of you to really work on your relationship. It's really a partnership, and it's something that both people have to put the effort into without losing their individual selves. This is important, and I think I see this in a lot of younger couples, that you are so bound up in each other's identity and in the relationship that you lose your own identity. So the best kind of relationship is one where you grow together, but you also grow as individuals. And when you come together, you're actually making each other better. And the relationship is also better and stronger because of that.
That's a very nice advice actually and very holistic na lalo na sa mga nakaka-experience ng mga ganyang klaseng relationships ngayon na parang yun nga, they kind of lose their identities along the way.
Yeah, so why don't you promote what you do? Share how, what you do actually helps other couples as, your advocacy helps yourself. Then, di ba? Parang it's as you were sharing before,
Yes.
again, being privy to their ilang beses ko na rin silang in-interview about their relationship.
Kaya pala.
Be happy to. So Bam and I are part of a movement called Worldwide Marriage Encounter Philippines. It's worldwide, of course. It's present in almost 100 countries, and it's been around for over 40 years. So Worldwide Marriage Encounter is a marriage enrichment program that is designed to help married couples communicate better and develop their intimacy, and it is meant to help good marriages become even better.
So dati it used to be, pre-pandemic, it used to be a weekend experience, Friday to Sunday, ganyan. Ngayon, through medical technology, yan, pwede na siya via Zoom. So we're actually going to be having our next weekend sa April. Sa April, to our married viewers out there who'd like to enrich your marriage, yan, Zach and I will be part of the presenting teams. Just drop us a line and we'll be happy to register you.
How can they connect with you pala? If there are people, or viewers or listeners are interested to be part of it and learn more about what you're doing, guys. So how can we connect? How can they connect actually to your page?
We have a Facebook page called Worldwide Marriage Encounter Philippines. So they can like that, follow that, send a message, and they can also find out about the next weekend schedules if they would like to attend one.
That's perfect. So we'll put on the description, we'll put the link in our description box.
Yes. All right. So thank you very much, Bam and Za. It's always a pleasure listening. Alam mo, ilang beses ko na narinig yung kwento na, pero lagi ko
siyang tinatanong.
lagi ko ba yung tinatanong? Kasi it's very inspiring, di ba?
Oo, di ba? Coming from, two people na enrich talaga yung lives within their relationship. It's very inspiring as well. So we thank you for joining us in this Laglagan nights. Although we're celebrating failures, we're saying na we're not celebrating the failure, but really what transpired after that failure. So there. Thank you and cheers!
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 Base na lang yung cheers.
Bye!